Hello, Kipsters. Happy Monday. It is the last Monday of the month of September. We have made it through September, and it seemed like very quickly as well. Today, I'm going to kind of introduce you to this new concept, or a concept that we sort of worked on last semester. If you remember the online music we did last year, but we're going to dive into that concept here a little more. I'm going to talk about it in a second. But before that, I wanted to kind of give you guys an update. Um, just last week, I believe we completed our funding for getting recorders for each of us in fourth and fifth grade. So I hopefully soon will have received those recorders. Those were received from donations from my friends, my family, also your family were part of those donations. Some of your family donated some money to that. So very soon, you all will be receiving your very own recorder. Hopefully, in your curriculum bag that you get every couple of weeks. I'm not exactly sure when those are given out, but if not, in another way, to where we can play recorder with each other through the screen. So I'm very much looking forward to that, and when that happens, I'm very excited to teach you guys an actual wind instrument for the first time. I know last year in music we did a lot of singing and we did some drumming. So we have worked with instruments before, but I'm very excited to finally get, like I said, a wind instrument in your hands. So because we're playing recorder, we need to learn how to read music. Okay. So this next series of lessons is going to be more about how to actually read music on a page. Now, last year, like I was saying, we did learn how to read notes. I kind of gave you a small idea of how to read notes. I had the flashcards. Like I said, you don't have to remember this, but some of you may. And together we just kind of learned how to identify notes. Now that we have Nearpod and all these other tools, I think this is going to be a much more effective lesson for us, because I'll be able to see the work you're doing. You'll be able, sorry, to do work on the actual screen with the new Draw It tool on Nearpod and such. So I'm looking forward to this lesson. I made it as well with the help of our donors from Donors Choose. The people who donated to the recorders also helped to donate to pay for these slides and to pay for this lesson a little, to make it a little easier and more creative and colorful for you. So thankful to everyone for this lesson, and hopefully you guys enjoy as we go into learning about how to read notes on the page, which is very important. Okay, so moving on, you should be following along in the Nearpod. When I say next, as we've done in the earlier lessons, you just move on to the next slide. And then when there's a draw it, I'll give you some silent time to work on the draw it before we move on, etc. Okay, there's a lot of draw its in this one today. So today we are learning about alphabet and staff notes. Now, hopefully this lesson will be broken up into multiple days, and we may do the lesson, more than once, just so we can solidify the idea of reading music. So be prepared to get a lot from this lesson, most likely. We'll be hopefully doing some games in here. I think I might have taken the games out because they require being in a classroom, but we'll see if we can come up with something as we go anyway. And moving on. So click next on the Nearpod. Okay, we're going with our I can statement of the day for this lesson specifically. I can identify the notes of the treble clef staff. So by the end of this, you should ideally be able to do this. Okay. Next on the slide, I can identify the lines of the treble clef staff. So not only the notes, but also more precisely just the lines. All right. So there's lines and spaces for those of you that remember. If you don't remember, that's okay. And then the last one, I can identify the spaces of the treble clef staff. Okay. So not only all the notes, but also specifically the lines and the spaces, and knowing the difference between them. Okay. What is the music alphabet? Lesson number 1. Okay. So a lot of us learned this early on last year. I kind of tried to talk about it with singing. And we kind of discussed exactly how many letters or what letters were in the music alphabet. I remember we did a lesson early on. Sorry, I'm gonna plug in my piano really quickly. Sorry about that. Yeah, so we talked about the music alphabet last year and exactly how many letters are in it. So today we're going to kind of just refresh that for those of you that still remember, or introduce that concept for those of you who are new to KIP or don't remember this particular part of music class last year. So moving on to the next slide. Okay. What are the names of the music alphabet? So for those of you that were following along and remembering from our Nearpod lesson, these right here are a specific type of note. Or those of you that were just remembering from last year, these are eighth notes. Okay, we're not talking about what are the names of this type of note. Okay, we're talking about what are the names of the music alphabet. Okay, so each note has a musical name or a musical letter of the alphabet attached to it. Moving on next, the musical alphabet. As you can see here, we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'll read it again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Doesn't say H there, doesn't say I. No letter after G comes up, okay? This is every letter in the musical alphabet. You have some countries that kind of sometimes add the letter H, but you'll never run into that in my entire music career. I've never run into the letter H in music, okay? So when you're reading music, each note you're looking at here on this screen right now is what one of your notes is called. All right, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Those are the only answers when you're looking for what note is this, okay? So you don't have to think of 26 different possibilities because there's 26 letters in the alphabet. You only have to think of 7 different possibilities. All right, so it's easy to get this memorized because we only have 7 notes to memorize. Now, they do go in different places, but there's not a lot of different names for them, okay? That's one cool thing about music. They do go in multiple places that make it kind of tricky on the staff, but there's not a lot of letters to get mixed up because there's only 7 that we have to know. All right. So again, just say it with me one time after me. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Go. Mm, 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 mm. All right. Moving on to the next slide. Real quick, I'm actually going to play this on piano for you. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and just kind of give you an audible hearing of it, or an oral hearing of exactly what this is. So I'm going to start on the note A, which sounds like this. A or A. I'm going to sing it down there. We have an A, and we're going to go up to B. A, B, C. And it sounds a little off because of what note we're starting on, but it's A, B, C. I'm going to sing every note all the way up to G, and then you'll hear what happens when we get to after G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. After G, of course, there is another note, but it does sound exactly like the first note we started on because they're both A. Listen. One's higher in pitch and one's lower in pitch, but they have the same sound. All right, they sound the same. Obviously, like I said, one's higher and one's lower, but the pitch, the name of the note is the same. Okay, so there is your piano visual or audible of what happens after G. We go back to the sound A. All right, A has a specific sound when you're listening to it. That note comes up multiple times on the piano, just like B comes up multiple times, just like C. They all repeat, repeat, repeat. And we're going to do more with that as we go on into this lesson. Moving on, next on the Nearpod. How many letters on the alphabet? So when you think about it, you just count on your fingers A, B, C, D, E, F, G. When we go back to A, we don't count A twice. So there's only how many letters? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's only 7 letters. Okay. So you just saw that on the page. Only 7 letters. I just kind of said it as well before that. 7 letters to think about in the musical alphabet. Here we have our number 7 next on the Nearpod. Sorry, I didn't say it. All right. And we're going to go through them. I'm going to play these on piano as well so you can hear them while you see them. And they always sound this way. A always sounds like A, except for when we talk about instruments, it's a little different, but we're not going to go there today. So A sounds like that. Next in the near pod. B sounds like that. C sounds like that. D sounds like that. E sounds like that. F sounds like that. And G. Okay. Now, obviously, those notes sound prettier when they're put in the right place, or sound better when they start on a different note. But for just our instance, those notes sound that way when they are shown. Okay. So we're going to fill in the blank here. So you should be on your Nearpod. If you're watching YouTube, you cannot do this by yourself or on your own. You have to be on the Nearpod to do this with me. So if you're not on that, go ahead and get on that and then click forward. If you are on that, get ready to do a draw it. This draw it is not timed, so we're not going to be rushing here to get this done, all right? Fill in the blank in the correct order. So here you can see we have 3 questions here. I'm going to read these 3 questions to you, and I'm going to actually give you a couple minutes on your own to do it before I start doing it with you, because I don't want you guys to feel like you can't do this on your own. All right. So what are the names of the notes in the music alphabet? All right. We just talked about all of that. All right. What are the names of the notes in the music alphabet? Those same notes, for the second question, write them in alphabetical order beginning on C. So whatever note you start on for the first one, the second one you're going to start on C. Okay, it doesn't tell you which one to start on the first one. The second one you're going to start on C no matter what. And the third one you're going to start on G no matter what. Okay? So go ahead and take a couple seconds to go ahead and get started on that. And then when I think you guys have had plenty of time to kind of get a decent answer, I will go ahead and begin as well on the screen so you can have some help. All right, so go ahead and take your time on that. I'm going to watch the timer here. You have about 30 more seconds to see how much you can get done, and you can continue to work as I talk. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with the first one since it's pretty simple. What are the names of the notes in the music alphabet? You should have already had this. I'm gonna change my colors to green. All right, you should have already had this. It's A, and you can also do the text one. I'll do the text one next just to give some differentiation. B, C, D, E, F, and G. All right. And remember, we don't go after G. There's no G. There's no letter after G, so there doesn't even need to be a line there. So the page helps us out, remember. All right. Now we're going to write them in alphabetical order beginning on C. And remember, if you're already here, just keep working. You already know how to do this. You're better. You're fine. You can just keep working. If you messed up, go ahead and go back, though. I'm going to do the text feature on this one. It might be a little slower. We'll see. Write them in alphabetical order beginning on C. So we know that no matter what, our first letter, I'm going to make these bigger letters as well. Our first letter has to be C. So I'm going to just go ahead and type C in here and put that where it needs to go. All right. See how nice and neat that looks? Write them in alphabetical order beginning on C. So we go to our next letters. After C, we know in the alphabet, we're in 4th and 5th grade, we know that in the alphabet after C comes the letter D. So we're going to write D next. Make it a little bigger here. D. Yeah, we'll keep it this big. All right, it's a little bit lopsided there, but that's all right. And after D comes E. After E comes F. A, B, C, D, E, F. After F comes G, right? So we know this in the alphabet: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now back to our idea that no letter happens after G. All right, but the music notes, there's not only 7 notes in music, so the music keeps going. Okay, but the letters don't. So after G, those of you who already have it, nice job. After G, we have A because the alphabet just starts back over. Every time it gets to G, it starts over again. All right. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And it just keeps going. All right. Keeps going until it can't go anymore. And in music, there is a point where it can't go anymore. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then after A, we know that B comes. All right. So this is what your answer should be for the second one. I'm going to just do the third one without doing it, without talking, and see if you got the right answer. Okay. I'm going to draw it again because it seems draw it's a little faster. But as you can see, if you're taking your time, there's no timer on this draw it. So if you're taking your time, you can just make it look nice and do the draw it, or do the text box, or you can just do it with your draw it tool. I'm going to change the color here for even more differentiation. We like differentiation. Beginning on G. Remember, if you got this, if you just do this one on your own, and you can just check my work to see if it is close to yours. And I'm going to put my name and submit. Awesome. Cool. Hope you guys had enough time to do that. I believe our next one is going to be a draw it as well. All right. So this one's a little bit simpler. You just fill in the missing note names so you don't have to draw every letter like the last time. All right. Fill in the blanks of the notes on the scale with the correct letter. The first letter is the beginning scale. So just like the last one, we begun on a different letter than what we started on. I'm going to do all text boxes on this one just so I can make it the same. Make it black as well. I'll make it red, so I'll just know that I put that in there. So again, we're just gonna go through the alphabet like we know: A, B, C, D, E. What comes after E? F. So we're gonna put an F in there. B, C, D, E, F, G, A. B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Second one looks pretty easy. A, B. We know what comes after B.
Lesson 4.
Whoops, my piano sometimes turns on. My bad. A, B, C, D, E, and then we know what comes after E. F. So we've put an F in there. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then C, D. What comes after D? A, B, C, D, E. If you have to say it from the alphabet from the beginning, don't. That is nothing wrong with that. All right, we commend that. All right, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and after G, we know that doesn't go to H, although normal alphabet it does. In music, we go back to A. Okay, getting plenty of practice with that. All right, so I'm glad that this is giving us as much practice with that idea as we can handle. All right, so here is what your answer should look like. Funny how the first two are both C and F. I didn't even notice that. A or B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Okay, that is what your answer should be on that one. Submitting that. Same idea here. I'm going to not speak at all during this one. We got a few more minutes left in this, and I believe we should be right on track. All right, so go ahead and finish this one without me talking. Okay, I'm gonna move on. You should have D, E, F, G, A, B, C, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. All right, this is what your answer should look like on this page. If you have not got finished, just pause me and then move on when you're ready. But otherwise, go ahead and click submit and move on to the next slide. And I believe this is our last slide of the day. Okay, so again, if you have not got finished with that, if you needed a little more time, go ahead and take your time with that. It's okay. Um, we are going to wrap this video up and begin tomorrow. So if you're following along in the Nearpod, specifically for this lesson, when you see the stop, that is it for the day. Okay, we are not doing any other lessons, at least without me talking. So you can go on if you would like, if you think you can do it on your own. But these lessons will be broken up over 4 days. Okay, so go ahead and finish up your lesson. Make sure you get everything submitted, and I will see you guys on the next video. Remember 3 things Mr. Isaac always says: you are kind, you are smart, you are important. Okay, I hope to see you soon, and until then, have an awesome day, guys.